All right, welcome back to the Letters from Money podcast. Today we have Anne Muirhead here, the founder of Digital Intell Women. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Darcie. So good to be with you.
Yes, it's so fun. So we are going to be talking all about cryptocurrency. For those of you who are new to the space, maybe you just started or maybe you've been in it for a while, we're going to talk about some of the basics of cryptocurrency so you can understand what all the hype is, what you need to be looking for, and what's the best way to start entering into this space. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Lee first before we fully dive in. So her mission is to support others thrive financially and emotionally by choosing clean and green cryptocurrency, which we'll talk about, and digital solutions that nourish and rejuvenate your spirit. So her experiences as a qualified business analyst, project manager, and she teaches others how to discern a good investment, ask the right questions, and fine-tune their intuition. So even though we're going to be talking about cryptocurrency today, I want to share she has an amazing, toolkit of things. So she blends ancient philosophy, human design, 5-element theory, NLP and timeline therapy with all of, the cryptocurrency pieces to help guide others in the direction of their North Star, their purpose, to help them really thrive as they move forward in life. So I'm so excited to have you here today to talk about crypto. And before we get started, just share a little bit about how you got here. How did you get to cryptocurrency?
Yeah, that's a really good question because it wasn't that long ago. I mentioned to a friend the other day that I haven't been in this space very long. It was only 5 months ago. She's like, "What? 5 months?" And so 5 months ago, I thought, right, it's time for me to start taking action of my finances. We were in some difficult times, and I didn't have an income stream. And I thought, well, I'm going to learn this crypto space. And I started diving into world events, and I landed on a blog which was starting to talk about clean and green crypto. And so I started diving deeper and deeper and researching. And I reached out to one of the guys that was offering some info about cryptos. And I asked him a question. I said, "Do you do any training?" And he said, "Yes. And I'll take 10% of your crypto investment." And I didn't have a lot of money. I had about $11 or $21. And I'm thinking, this is just such a far-fetched, message to send somebody. And I negotiated with him. He sent me a PDF of instructions. I found it really difficult to interpret it. So I went on to YouTube and I went on to other sites to learn how to. So literally 5-minute videos on the how-tos. And I set up my first exchange and I started trading. And my first buy was $11 because I was so scared. I didn't know what I was doing. But I also had confirmation from all the research that I was doing that this was the right investment for me at that time, given all the things that were happening in the world. And it really lit me up because I was like, well, there's all these things happening with Wall Street and there's all these things happening in the stock market and, and cryptocurrency is being talked about a lot. So it's time for me to start really paying attention. And I loved it. I really enjoyed it because it was starting to light up that part of me that was lying dormant for a while from not being a contractor, was around the intellect and the, getting something done at the end of the day. And it was actually quite a nice achievement.
Awesome. And, one of the questions when I asked my community of what did they want to know, what did they want to hear about cryptocurrency was, if I only have a little bit to invest, do I jump in? Do I wait until I have more? So I love that you started with, your first investment was $11. And, that you were able to build, what is a much bigger portfolio now in terms of cryptocurrency. So, you got started in this kind of smaller way. What has kept you going? Has it been seeing the movement, the gains, in your investments? What's the most exciting part that's kept you in it and now building a business with it?
The first part was knowing that my investment was actually part of the solution. Because in the past, I'd heard about Bitcoin and I'd heard friends making money and things like that, but it didn't feel good. Something didn't feel right in the body. And I didn't know what it was. I didn't know if it was a money block or, if I ways I knew to invest were through MLM, network marketing companies, or through a trader, a broker. And I had only $11, so that wasn't going to work. But once I figured out through his guidance, his PDF, that you could actually, the minimum trade, as soon as I realized the minimum trade was, I think it was at $10 at the time, I think it's now $20, I was like, wow, like I can do this today rather than wait for next month. Because it, a lot of women sort of come to me and they're like, I've got a plan to invest in crypto, but I'll wait till next month until I get paid. The great thing is you can actually get started today. So the first thing you need to do is to open up an exchange. And the second piece that he really highlighted to me was security. An exchange, they've got some crypto somewhere, but they don't know, or their husband's got crypto or a friend's got crypto, so they know something about it, but they haven't actually officially opened up their own personal exchange. Now, even going through those steps in that process of registration, can really sort of trigger some people, because it can be quite challenging. You can have your ID ready. Some women have had to go out and make sure they've got their own credit card with their own name on it. So what it's done is facilitated a lot of other things in the financial space that we needed to get organized.
Yes.
And so I think they're the things that lit me up, is getting stuff done and feeling like I was empowered. And on $11, yes, when it went to $13, and then when it went to $21, when it started going up, of course that is exciting. But then I learned the game, and the psychology game of holding. Because what happened was I started taking some money out. That's what I love about this world of crypto, is a lot of women don't realize that you can be completely liquid. Like, you can cash out straight away. Now, a lot of these sort of systems and network marketing companies, you need to wait for a certain term. And so that didn't appeal to me at all. I just wanted to be fully in control. And I never got around to it because I didn't have the $1,000 or the $1,500. By the time I'd saved up that amount of money, I'd found somewhere to spend it. Especially, during these times, people just don't have that extra income. And so you're literally building. It was, nobody knew about it. I was literally building, $11, $21, building my own way. And then he showed me a way to increase that and boost that. And then this is where I started to learn a bit more about world events. And so I started boosting, and I was using the cryptocurrency exchanges money. So they were giving me 50% back on my investment. And so I was able to buy more cryptocurrency, knowing that it's going to go up in value. So I was building digital assets. So it fully empowered me. And I was starting to build a portfolio. And then I woke up one morning and I thought, I need to share this with women. I need to get all this information that I've learned. I've literally been in the books, and I've been on YouTube, and I've been studying, and I've worked this stuff out, because in my human design, I'm very experiential. And so I can almost go and experience everything, the ups and downs, what works, what doesn't work. But then if I don't have an outlet to share it, it's kind of information that is kind of getting misused or misguided, whereas people with big followings are sharing, hey, get into Bitcoin, get in here, and that requires big investments. And so it was really burning on my heart that women needed to know about this. It was almost like I had this secret.
Yes, and a way to help people, not only create another stream of income, but the beauty of starting to look more intimately, like you said, at your finances. Look at some of these money stories that are hiding under the surface in order to take action on this is huge. And for those listening, watching, I've been working with Lee over the past 3 months in her incredible program, getting my portfolio started and starting to build mine. And it's amazing to see what stories come up, what you can work through as you're using, moving into the crypto space to start looking at this. So when it comes to, people diving into this world, even for some people, as I kind of shared what we were going to be talking about on today's podcast, there's a lot of overwhelm as they kind of sit and they look at this cryptocurrency. They don't know where to dive in. They don't understand how to start. So what are some of your suggestions for someone just starting out? You talked a bit about exchanges. You talked a bit about the intel that you've gathered. What's a great place for people to start?
The intro to cryptocurrency is one to listen to these sort of podcasts, and I've got a few that I'm starting to do on my YouTube now.
Oh, I'll share your link.
But I think YouTube is a really great channel, and they've got crypto for dummies. They've got crypto for beginners. They've got there's a lot of different people, and I think you start to resonate with certain characters. And so I sort of got my list together of people that I love to follow, and I would subscribe, and I would it almost started to support everything that I was learning. So rather than what's shared at the moment by just following one person, you've got to kind of back it up. And then I had a reading booked with one of my dear friends who was a psychic medium, and I said, I've got this idea, digital what do you think? And she's like, I would be interested in that. I was asking for her opinion on the actual, like what would people go for this? And because someone like her, who's a psychic medium, well established in business, I was thinking, wow, if she's interested, then there's something here. So getting started and learning the information, I think you can look up what is cryptocurrency. I think it's important to understand the fundamentals, which is cryptocurrency is now going to become part of our reality. Banks are closing, paper money is no longer, I guess, in our future. It's not to say that it's going away, it's just saying that now everything's going to be done digitally. And the great thing is that everything's done on blockchain. So that means that everything's recorded, everything has a transaction. It's like sending money between friends to banks or using PayPal. Instead, we're sending crypto. So it's an area where you can ease into. And of course, I offer sort of monthly memberships and things like that for women who want to know more. But I think that it's really important to just start researching. Read blogs. Empowering yourself. So the first thing I did was start researching. I'm like, the intention is there. I'm going to start learning this space. It's really important. And what I didn't know is all, like you've said, all this other stuff that came up, that it was almost like an accelerated financial lesson. Being able to clear all the financial stories, all the money stories, get empowered, leverage my intuition to make trades. And then, I guess, the space can be dominated by the mind, as in like there's loads of graphs, there's loads of information. And I didn't find that I was gravitating towards those people. So as soon as I had shared that with a psychic medium, that this could be something, and she said, yeah, I'd love to get into this space, I recognized that there was a really beautiful energy with crypto now, that it's clean and green, and they're cleaning up their act. And a lot of the crime and the fraud that was connected to some of these initial cryptocurrencies that were on our radar was all getting exposed. So as I awakened, I recognized that cryptocurrency was actually a new way for me to be able to explore this space. So does that answer the question for your community?
Yes. And it's perfect, because I want to, it spurred a few more questions that I want to step back for a second just to explain to people, and many of you might already know this, but the difference between blockchain and cryptocurrency. Sometimes people get hung up on, well, I know Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's the only thing that they associate cryptocurrency with. So, and I know from, being in your sphere that not all cryptocurrencies are equal, but some people don't even understand that cryptocurrency is not just Bitcoin. So can you even just talk a little bit about high level cryptocurrency? What is that? What does it mean? And then, we talked and touched on this blockchain technology. So just a little bit about those pieces.
Yeah, so I think if you sort of decode the language cryptocurrency, so it's a way to fund and to trade digitally. So I can send cryptocurrency to you. It's the same way that I would send cash to you. It's a digital asset, so you're buying one Bitcoin, for example. Now, the thing with Bitcoin has been the market has been overinflated. So Bitcoin was running on what's called the blockchain, which is a way we store information, really. Blockchain is just a database, and it's got smarter and smarter and greener and greener. So 10 years ago, when Bitcoin was initiated, the value was really kind of made up. It really didn't have a job to do. It didn't have any utility. It was just a new concept. So the people that got involved were technically savvy, or, you know, kind of developers, or, you know, solution architects in this space that felt really comfortable. The gamers, you know, those kinds of people would get involved in cryptocurrency. And it was interesting, 10 years ago, we were all kind of alerted to, we need to start investing in this space. But many of us were like, oh no, I still want to stay with my super. I don't want to pull it out, or we're not allowed to pull it out in Australia. Like it was all these rules. And so it was a big investment as well. It was like $5,000. You needed to send it to, you know, give it to a trader. And I didn't really know what I was doing. And I think that blockchain is really just the way we store information, which means that now we've made it smarter. We've added on smart contracts, additional layer of security, what we call AML, which is anti-money laundering, and KYC, which is know your customer. So the technology's got greener, more efficient, it's got smarter, it's got more transparent. Because there was a lot of fraud that was funded by Bitcoin that we now know today that's getting exposed in the mainstream media. And if anyone wants to dive deeper in that, you can go and search things like the dark web, the Silk Road, things like that. And I think that if most good people knew about what Bitcoin was funding in the past, they wouldn't have even touched it. Which is what I found with healing women. They didn't even sort of touch it. And the information was so bamboozled, which is where the overwhelm kicks in, because it's like, well, we don't understand the tech. Yes. So how do we get involved? But blockchain is just a database. So it will come into education, the way we store our educational files. It will come into property. So property is the latest one where they've introduced blockchain, where they've added in smart contracts, which is the rules define when they'll hand over the keys. So you can see the future of the industry where we're renting a property and we hand over our ID, and we do it all digitally now. So there's no sort of third party. There's no lawyers involved. There's no estate agents involved in this kind of transaction. And so the smart contracts define the rules of when, okay, you can get your keys now. You're verified, qualified. So there's a lot of more fairness, a lot more transparency. At the moment, you know, in Australia, we have to have the bond to this industry, and we have to, you know, sign the lease with this company. And there's all these people involved with renting. When it comes to purchasing property, there's all these other complexities, and you need to get a lawyer to do this. So that'll all be now. The future is, and the future, when I say the future, very, very quickly, within the next 3 to 6 months, we've already got technology to support the real estate industry, the education industry, the medical industry. All our medical files are held on the blockchain.
Yeah.
So voting now, we won't have any paper voting from now on for obvious reasons. So voting now will be done on the blockchain. So what you can do is you can look at cryptocurrencies that are supporting these projects. So by just doing some research, and I just give hints and tips, and I can share this, you know, after, is where to kind of do the research to know what your cryptocurrency is funding. So now we know that cryptocurrency has utility, which is like buying a share. The thing is with shares, because we've talked about trading shares, because I know you've done really well in this space, sort of investing in, you know, hemp companies, hemp distribution, this kind of thing, you know, medical products, things like this. This is where we're going, where people want to invest, Tesla, you know, these kinds of things. And now you can invest in cryptocurrencies that are actually facilitating a lot of these projects.
Yeah. And again, going back to that utility value and looking at the you know, the reason I was drawn to you as well was, you know, you care about what's behind it. You care about their values, their mission behind the company, behind the cryptocurrency, and what it's supporting. So can you touch a little bit about on that piece, and then also, you know, why it's important to be bringing, you know, your intuition and your discernment into, you know, this space as you're moving in?
Yeah, so utility is a real thing, because Bitcoin, you know, wasn't really there to deliver a specific project. And it's like, well, you know, no wonder healing, you know, people who are intuitive and in the healing space, no wonder something didn't feel right, because it's like, well, what am I investing in? It doesn't feel like it's got any legitimacy. You know, so which is interesting, because we've almost had a lot of trust in the banks and paper money, when that didn't really have any utility either. Yep. So now we get to choose, and so now we get to be part of the solution. And so I know it was trying to make a living. I had plans to live a full life and things like big dreams, which is what most people do, especially when they go into affiliate marketing businesses, network marketing, lifestyle home businesses, this kind of thing. They want to sort of stop working as many hours and start to have a bit more of a lifestyle. And crypto provides that. As soon as that, I worked that out, that I'm in charge of how quick this grows, and I'm responsible, for leveraging my intuition. Is this a good place to invest? My intuition became so strong in certain projects, and once I did the research, then that's backing it up. But the overwhelm comes in when I literally see people sort of step back when it's like too much technology being dropped, too much jargon being dropped. It's just, you want to know whatever you're investing in, that it's going to secure your long-term future.
Yes. Yeah.
That's utility. And so cryptocurrencies now are regulated. And so you would only want to be looking at a cryptocurrency that is ISO 20022. So I just say ISO regulated. But it's there's a number of other regulations coming into the industry as well, because what's coming to light now is that our super funds and a lot of our stocks, a lot of our share investments were manipulated and intentionally crashed to support an elite few. And so knowing all that now, it's like, okay, well, people are starting to look around, where am I going to invest now? Well, you want to invest in humanitarian projects. You want to invest in technology that's facilitating those. You want to invest in ISO regulated, and there's other like the Basel III, and there's other regulations coming through. There's COMEX 589. So our whole industry, financial industry, which you'd have more knowledge on, Darcie, is now being fully opened up, and all eyes are on it. It's like the light is on what's really been going on.
Yes.
And so these cryptocurrencies and these companies behind them needed to present use cases and white papers and the real stuff. Like what is your long-term plan, and when are you going to do the development, and when are you going to deliver the project, and when are you going to invest, and how do the people benefit? What are you going to provide your investors? So similar concept to investing in shares, dividends, and things like that. But we know today that was only supporting a very select few, and the majority of us were not going to benefit.
Yeah.
Even though we believed in it,
Yes.
So we're good people. And so now what's being taught, we're in a revolution. If people are not sensing that, then it's time to pay attention, because we're in a revolution and you want to get started. You want to get in there now. If you're holding back and waiting, you're going to miss out.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Good people are now reaping by using their intuition to invest in companies that are, really making a difference. And by you choosing that, and by you doing your research, and by connecting, with women who are, sharing this information, you're adding to the solution. You're actually waking others up as well as to what's really going on. By you going, hey, I invested in crypto, and I've had friends say, hey, if I give you 500, can you put that into crypto? That way is not really where we are now. So we're moving into the age of Aquarius, a new energy. A lot of people talk about 3-dimensional to 5-dimensional living. It's really about collaboration. It's really about helping people. And so I just say, look, I'll show you everything. I'll show you how to set up your own account so that they can be empowered. And this is for everyone, for men, women, anyone who's over 18. I've got accounts for my niece and nephew, and we watch it. And children are amazing for picking the cryptos. So I'll go down the list and they'll pick a crypto, and I'll be like, that's interesting, because crypto is becoming playful now. It's becoming, and then I'll go and research the company, and sure enough, it's people power. It's a community project. They're building housing, or they're involved in giving back for clean water. A lot of these meme coins and things like that, people like traditional traders would never go there. But the truth is that they have utility. There is a white paper. They do need to be ISO regulated. to really start to reap, some of the wealth that, has been kept from us for a very long time.
Yes, and it's there. And I love what you do because, again, it's about bringing that power back to the people and opening people's eyes in so many ways, not, just within crypto, on how they can move into this new age. And I talk about that a lot as well, and that we are in this revolutionary period and we are moving into a space where, looking at your money story, looking at your relationship to money goes so much deeper than like fiat, currency and cash, because that's not the future. And, understanding that, it's this very intangible energy that you can work with outside of this, paradigm or this one way that we're used to looking at, earning and receiving and, this exchange. It totally opens your eyes to a totally new way to exchange, to support yourself, to receive. And it's a beautiful journey, for anybody who's even feeling, the tug to look into crypto, dive in, whether that's just dipping your toes in and starting to research, or, I'm going to be sharing all of your resources here. So, your blog, your YouTube channel, just starting to dip your toes in and know that, yes, while it's new, it might feel overwhelming. It's just taking those bite-sized pieces, really setting aside all the noise to allow yourself to look at the simplicity of it. And that's the beauty, I think, of what you do, is being able to set that aside, look at the simplicity of it, and dive in and take action, because that's so important, is actually following through and taking action. So I know you have so many amazing ways that you do support people in lots of different capacities. So I'd love to hear, I know you have a Patreon group, program or, monthly thing. I'd love for you to talk about that and just share that with anybody who is like, yes, I want to dive in. I need a little bit more support. Tell us a little bit about what that looks like and what that is.
Yeah, so the monthly is so it's $88 for the month, and inside Patreon, what I'll be doing is dropping the latest cryptos to keep on your radar, information on what is clean and green, projects to keep on your radar, where to find the information. So no contracts, so you can come into that. What I do recommend, I do have a team, there's about 6 or 7 women that are now intuitive crypto coaches that have been trained by me. They've just come out of their 12 weeks training, which is where you were, Darcie, inside Intuitive Trader. And yeah, I asked on the week 12, has anyone lost any money? And there was like, no. Now, have we seen our money increase like dramatically, where the chart gets quite intense when we're making lots of money because the energy shifts? Even I find myself sit up. And then what happens is sometimes it can drop while we're waiting for some more regulations to come into play. So we're in a very interesting time. And I feel that if you've got the support inside Digital Intell Women, if you just search that on Patreon, yeah, then you can just have that guidance, and I'll do a monthly live update where you can interact with me live, ask questions, things like that. And there's a community chat. Traditionally, we had that on Telegram. We've now moved that over to Patreon, where I can give a lot more attention to you, and I can give a lot more content and drop a lot more information. Now, if you want private coaching, then you can also do that and reach out, because I have a team available now. I don't do the initial setup, but they are trained to do that. So we get your first exchange, we'll get your security set up, we'll get you doing your first trade on market. We'll show you a few different other platforms, because some can be quite technical, but we'll show you step by step sort of how to get started. So after 30 minutes to an hour, with either myself or one of the team, then you're thriving. You've got your portfolio set up, and it doesn't matter how much money that you want to put in there. That's really up to you. You're fully empowered with your own portfolio. You're not inside a closed platform. You can withdraw the money anytime you want. We'll show you how to sell your coins and just withdraw your money. And we've got access in Australia. I don't think it's there yet in the USA. We've got access to a crypto card, where we can actually just pay by crypto for our groceries and things like that. So there are cards coming out in the UK, so in the UK and in the USA. So I can share that. I'll drop different products that are offering. I'll also show you different platforms to accelerate your coins, your investments and things like that. So it's really about growing the investments. So yeah, I guess my message is, it literally, if you break it down step by step, this can be really simple.
Yes.
Like literally, you've just got to decide, I want to get into crypto because I want to, one, increase my portfolio. Two, I want to move through any stories that have been blocking me up until this point. Crypto is just such a beautiful energy to get into. If you can get into utility projects, I'm starting to work with women now who want to, I don't know anyone on the planet actually that doesn't want to do some sort of community work or a humanitarian project, that's got the vision in their mind of one day, once I make the money, I'll be able to do this. This is available now to everyone on the blockchain. So government grants are starting to come out. And so I'm as a trained business analyst, I'm starting to help women. And Darcie, we've talked about this. We might do something there where we're helping women with the business planning, the marketing, to get her grant, and then to then start fulfilling that dream of the humanitarian project. The other side of that, if you're not there yet, is to invest in cryptos that are doing it for you.
Exactly. And there's still a way that we can all give back, no matter what stage you are. And that's the beautiful part of it. And you're also nourishing yourself in terms of, receiving, income. If you're pulling, your investment out, you're just seeing this beautiful investment grow as you're supporting, a project, that is near and dear to your heart. And that's the beauty of it. And, I know that's the reason why so many of us are feeling drawn to this space, and just kind of breaking down all that noise. And, speaking from experience, your knowledge and support is incredible. And to have someone who is so deep, in the crypto space, that can help, give you intel and guide so that you can make the right moves when you're getting into this space, is invaluable. So I highly, highly, highly recommend you join me, over in the Patreon, because it's incredible. And if you're feeling called to, okay, you know what, I don't know the tech, I don't know the systems, I need support in getting it set up, I love that you have, a team ready and waiting to help people through that process. It's beautiful. So, before we sign off, is there anything else you feel, like sharing about the crypto space that maybe we didn't touch on today?
I think there's a really interesting opportunity that's automatically come out of that 3-month immersion, is that you might want to monetize. So not only are you going to get your portfolio sorted, you're actually going to create another, it could be an add-on, you could be a healer, you could be an artist. There's a huge space opening up for artists to sell their work as a non-fungible token, NFTs. So these are all held on the blockchain, which means that there's just a transaction recorded and there's a database held of information. So the opportunities, I think, are endless. If you are quite digital savvy and you pick this up really quickly, which most of the women do, it's just a couple of steps. And once you've done one exchange, then you can do another, is that you can start monetizing what you've learned. And so if a friend wants to get into cryptocurrency, you can show her, and you could charge 10% of her crypto investment, or you could, charge a coaching fee, and you could start monetizing and start working from home, which is most of us have had to recalibrate and reassess how will we earn money from now on. So there's so many different avenues that this opens up. And I really want to invite those who are extremely, intuitive, know that there's, that we'll just have that knowing that, this is possible now. It's almost like it's like everything has turned, and everything that wasn't possible before is now possible. And I feel like cryptocurrency is really the foundation to really explore some of these dreams that you've had: travel, retire the hubby, take the kids out of school and homeschool, like all these kinds of dreams and projects, or humanitarian housing projects. This is all done on the blockchain. So the quicker that you immerse yourself in this space and start sort of moving through those money stories, the quicker those dreams are going to be realized.
Yes. Oh, chills. That was beautiful. Yes, it's here, it's now. And, if you're listening, then you are meant to dive into this space. So however you start, just start taking action here. I love this. Thank you so much for this conversation today. I know this is going to be so helpful to a lot of people, and I can't wait to have you back on and do future things with you so we can dive deeper in other areas. Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you so much again for being here.
You're welcome. Bye.
See everyone soon.